Only days after the pre-contract arrangement which saw Dujon Whisper Richards sign with English powerhouse Chelsea, the English Football Association have questioned whether Phoenix All-Stars Academy, which Richards is signed to, is affiliated with the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF. This has led to questions about whether the transfer could be deemed null and void. Craig Butler, president of Phoenix All-Stars Academy, has guaranteed that this is standard procedure and that the transfer is in no danger.
First of all, whether we are or are not is insignificant to the transfer of Whisper to Chelsea. It is simply people doing their balances and checks to find out what is the actual situation and to make sure that what I said in our contractual agreement is correct. Yeah, in our pre-contract is correct. And they have gotten the confirmation that what I did say to them is correct, and our contract is in no form of jeopardy or anything like that. I'm sure you have seen, I've shown you information that shows that Chelsea has no problems with what's going on, and the FA will have no problems with what I'm doing. As you know, for many years, Phoenix was ostracized from the JFF and from even having players participating in the national team. Whisper did not play for Jamaica's under 13, under 17, or under 20. Today, he's starting in the last game for the senior national team at 17 years old. There's a reason for this, yeah? And the fact of it is that the bridges need to be mended, yeah? However, the facts of what is clear, yeah? So we are not really worried at all about his contract, and no one in Jamaica should be. I actually do my work. Well, the issue is not an issue of reparation in terms of the JFF. If they choose to want to work with us, then we have no problems working with the JFF. You know, Phoenix was founded as a means to develop players to help our national team to be a competitive national team and go to the World Cup, and by extension create more economical benefits to our country as a whole and to the families. Unfortunately, we have had difficulties with the JFF over the years, and I believe that they have realized, hopefully by now, that we're not going anywhere, and we're continuing to develop the best young talents out of the country. And we look forward to the day when we can all sit as friends around a table, have a drink, and be proud of all the Jamaicans that have been produced, whether it is from Phoenix or outside of Phoenix. We should have pride in our players, in our country, and we should encourage patriotism. Yeah? I'm a patriot of my country. I love my country. And at this time, it's important that we recognize there are issues, you know, that we have to fix as a nation in our football, so that people like Dujon are not pushed to the side, right? And not playing football in terms of within the JFF structure for the last 5 years.
Yeah, you heard it from Craig Butler, now former Trinidad and Tobago international and football expert. Brent Sancho joins us. Brent, of course, has intimate knowledge of how these transfers are to be executed. Brent, first of all, what do you make of what you heard just now from Craig Butler?
Good afternoon, first of all, Ricardo. Yeah, he's spot on in what he's saying. It does not impact Whisper's transfer to Chelsea. Of course, most or all clubs are encouraged to be under the umbrella of their parent organization, this being the JFF, meaning that they want, FIFA would like all clubs, all academies to be under the JFF, meaning affiliates of the JFF. However, in this case, the actual transfer of Dujon to Chelsea is not impacted by Phoenix not being affiliated to the JFF.
Is there anything that could be impacted by him not being, by Phoenix All-Stars Academy not being an affiliate of the JFF? Sorry.
Yes, well, there is something called a solidarity payments, which comes from the development of a young talent. In FIFA's infinite wisdom, they put together a structure where clubs or affiliates of their parent organization is paid money for developing young talent. I think that payment will obviously come into question simply because Whisper was not a part of a club that's affiliated to the JFF. That's the only financial restrictions that I see that may be an issue. Outside of that, the transaction between Chelsea and Phoenix Football Club is very open and can be happen. Of course, going forward, FIFA is constantly working on trying to make sure that everyone is part of this umbrella, so that may in the future have some sort of ramification. But as it stands right now, and of course not having all of the information in front of me, I think everything is fine for Whisper to start his career at Chelsea FC.
Yeah, so you speak about the possible ramifications in terms of what the developmental clubs would usually earn or get from a transfer like this. If Phoenix All-Stars Academy is unable to claim those benefits, can any other developmental club claim those benefits? Let's say another club steps forward and says, well, Dejon Richards was with us at 10 years old or 11 years old, and they can prove that he played 25 games for them. Or even his high school team, they can say, well, he played under 16 for us. He played under 19 for us. Can any of those entities claim those benefits that you've suggested Phoenix All-Stars might not be able to claim because they're not affiliated with the JFF?
But firstly, whatever claims are made has to be ratified by the JFF. Meaning that anyone that's affiliated to the JFF and can obviously ratify that Richards played for them for that period of time, yes, they can get developmental fees for the player. Interestingly, the school aspect of it, we had a case here with Kenwin Jones when he went to Southampton, where his school was able to claim developmental fees because he did play sometime with his school, which is St. Anthony's College here in Trinidad and Tobago. So the school that he would have played for may have, of course, some sort of possible way of collecting some of the developmental fee. I don't want to quote the figure. I know, of course, in various countries it differs, and it differs, of course, to various types of clubs where they are. For a Premiership club, they probably pay more than a Championship club, for example. And of course, the type of region that the player comes from. So all those variables are taken into account, but it's an automatic payment that is structured within the TMS, which is a transfer marketing system, which obviously tracks players' transfers throughout the country locally and throughout the region internationally.
All right, Brent, I hear you. So it seems evident based on all of your analysis that the transfer to Chelsea isn't in jeopardy here. But I want you to comment briefly, if you can, on the reference made by Craig Butler about the Jamaica Football Federation and the documented caustic relationship he has had with them for many, many years now. And your impression of the quality of leadership from an administration standpoint throughout the Caribbean, because the JFF is heavily criticized in Jamaica for its administrative malfunctioning, if I want to put it that way. And that is not a new story right throughout the Caribbean. I know the St. Lucians have complained about the St. Lucia FA. I hardly think there's a Caribbean territorial body in charge of football that football fans are happy with. You know the Craig Butler JFF situation quite well. Does he stand on good ground here in separating himself from the JFF because he wants to operate a globally efficient school of football for teenagers, and he feels he isn't getting any support from the Jamaica Football Federation.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Lance, the proof is in the pudding, and Craig Butler could certainly put his hands up and says that he has done the job. You just have to look at Leon Bailey now with Richards in this situation. The JFF has to find a way to work with Mr. Butler. At the end of the day, he has done a tremendous job in being able to not only just, of course, develop talent, but get the talent to play at some of the top clubs in world football. And the biggest problem as we go beyond the JFF is that relationship within the footballing organizations and specific clubs. In this case, of course, it's Phoenix. We very easily like to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We have to find ways to work. We're a very small region. Yes, we may not have and agree on some particular points, but the main issue is to be collaborative. What I've seen from Mr. Butler has been the fact that he's been able to develop talent and been able to send them out and been able to get them to clubs where they can further their talent, which is only does well and bode well for Jamaica football. So they have to find a way to make sure that this synergy works. Now, they don't have to agree, but I think they could agree to disagree.
Mm. Yeah. I went there as well, before you say something, Ricardo, that we have heard some pronouncements in recent weeks from the current Jamaica national coach, who is only a few months into the job, and he has already started to criticize the JFF about himself as a national coach not being accustomed to a culture of inefficiency. He, clearly made statements about trying to get some things done, and the JFF is dragging its feet. So, on this particular issue, I think most Jamaican football fans are with Butler on this because they feel that he's moving at a quicker pace than the JFF is.
Yeah, no, look, I agree with him. And look, at the end of the day, the biggest problem we have in this region is that we try to fit square pegs in round holes. At the end of the day, because all FAs are genuinely put together based on an electoral basis, it's not far to assume, and of course we've had evidence of it, where you have to obviously do what you need to do as a president to stay in power. And sometimes it means hiring people that don't have the right, of course, accreditation, the right skill sets to be able to work in these sorts of organizations.
But will support you. But will support you as a president.
But would probably support you as a president. And we've seen it many times. And it's a challenge for advancing our football in the region, because we tend to always look and lean towards who is the person that would support me to get that extra 4 or 5 years. So I think as things evolve, of course, we saw recently, Lance, that FIFA has, of course, given more money as it relates to the funding that they give to various member associations. That should be used in the right way to hire the right people. If it's someone that can do the job, make sure that they have the right, of course, qualifications and ability to execute what is need to be done. We want to qualify for World Cups in this region. To qualify for World Cups, you have to have the right structures and, of course, the right efficiency using the coaching language to be able to qualify. There's no way around it. That is a fact. And the only way you can do that is by hiring the right people and not looking to hire people that would give you electoral favors.
One more quick question, Brent, on the whole transfer issue. Can you explain for us the FIFA clearinghouse?
The FIFA clearinghouse has come into view earlier this year. And what it really does is it's now starting to hone down on understanding through a player passport the different steps that a player take in development, and making sure that the right persons or right clubs or affiliations are given the right compensation for that. Before, we've had situations where players are developed and the persons that are responsible for that development were shut out from any transfer fees or any monies that are coming in. They're trying to encourage clubs that are developing players and developing young talent to get the financial resources necessary to continue to do so. And so this is taking effect. This is starting to come into to play through the TMS system, where they're going to track players and make sure that these players are given, of course, all the opportunities to make sure that those transfers and the clubs that are affiliated for the development or associated to the development of these players are given the right sort of compensation. I think it's a step in the right direction, as well as there is going to be a situation where all agents are going to have to be licensed to be able to transact moves, which means that come September, if you have not sit the test and have not been given the license from FIFA, you cannot conduct football in business. Aston Villa is not going to talk to any agent if they're not licensed, or any other club for that matter. So that is where this is heading. It gives it a better fold and structure and a better, and I think at the end of the day, it also protects the player to make sure that everything is done under the right sort of transparency. Yeah,
fast running out of time, Brent. Given what you have just said, I would assume that for you to be part of that clearinghouse process as a club or any entity, you would have to be affiliated with a national association.
That's correct. You would have to be affiliated, and you would have to be part and parcel or under the umbrella of your organization, of your FA or your association, to be able to be part of it. So this situation, this current situation that we are talking about, may evolve further or will have to change as it goes along. I'm not sure if the clearinghouse is in Jamaica yet and is working. I know they're rolling it out as we speak, but I'm very sure that in a year or years to come, that this conversation we're having would probably be a little bit different because of the clearinghouse and what's around the corner.
And if you're not benefiting as an institution, as a club from a transfer, then where does the benefit go, if anywhere? Because I'm still trying to understand that aspect.
Well, it goes in the training compensation and developmental fees that has been instituted by FIFA. So what happens is, once a player
in a case where you're not affiliated, though, Brent, in a case where you're unable to access that training compensation and developmental benefits that come with the signing of the contract.
Well, in that case, the club, the buying club, would have to find a way, of course, to probably, I would say, probably with understanding in context what we're talking about, would probably have to pay around the table or below the table. I don't like using those phrases, but that's probably what would have to happen. But I think with the clearinghouse coming into fruition, I don't think much entities will have any other choice but to start to go down that road, because what they're trying to do is obviously streamline every single aspect of football transfers under one umbrella, and that's through FIFA and the TMS system.
All right, thanks very much for that, Brent. Really appreciate your explanation of this situation and how these transfers are executed. I'm sure we'll be talking again, because I feel as if this matter will be back on the agenda sometime soon. Thanks, Brent. Take care.
No problem, guys. Have a great one.
Yeah, take a break. We'll be back soon.